Morgen Yidden. We are in Purim Mamar Layehudim Aleph Tafshin Yud Beis. Today is Sunday. It is Beis Adar Aleph Tafshin Ein Daled. We are in Purim Mamar Tafshin Yud Aleph Tafshin Yud Beis in the Mamar Layehudim Hasaira from Purim Tafshin Yud Beis. We are. Where are we? On page Reish Lamed Aleph at Ois Hey, chapter 5. We're learning about Seder Ishtalshlus, the chain order of creation, and the fact that it's divided into 4 parts: Atzilus, Bri, Yitzira, and Asiyah, and that the ultimate intended purpose of all Seder Ishtalshlus is for man, who exists in Olam Asiyah Gashmi, in the physical world, whose purpose is to fulfill the mitzvahs. Anochi barasi, Anochi asisi eretz v'adam aleha barasi, it says in the verse in Yeshaya. I made the earth, says Hashem, and I created man upon it. Barasi, the numerical value of barasi is Taryag, 613, which is the 613 mitzvahs. So I created man, Hashem says, on the physical earth for the purpose of fulfilling the 613 mitzvahs. So in other words, Atzilus, because Atzilus is an intermediary between Ein Sof, God's infinity, and creation. And it's through Atzilus, that you get from Ein Sof, Achdus Apshuta, total oneness, to a multitude of creation. So Atzilus is the means by which Hashem creates the morgen. And Bria is for the purpose of Yitzira, and Yitzira is for the purpose of Asiyah, and the whole of creation is for the purpose of man. And the purpose of man is to serve Hashem through fulfilling the 613 mitzvahs. It means, in other words, that man's situation and condition, the condition of man's fulfilling the 613 mitzvahs, determines the entire Seder Ishtalshlus. That's the bottom line. That's where we're up. Ois Hey. Now, the Rebbe goes into more detail into Seder Ishtalshlus. We learned about the 4 realms, Atzilus, Bri, Yitzira, and Asiyah. And we learned that Atzilus, as I just mentioned, is the means through which you get from Achdus Apshuta, from total oneness, to a multitude of creatures. Now let's go delve deeper into the 10 spheres, the 10 divine attributes. V'hinei b'ha'es spheres gufa, within the 10 attributes themselves, shehem memutzayim, which are the means through which there could be these ideas of, or these realms of brasiv yitzativ and asisiv, b'yitzir and asiyah. What is the first of these? What is the first of these 10 attributes? These 10 divine attributes is firas chochma. Chochma is the first. As the Pasuk says in Tehillim, Reish is Chochma. The Pasuk says Reish is Chochma Yiras Hashem. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. Chassidus interprets it as what? Reish is Chochma. The first thing is Chochma. What is Chochma? What's Chochma Atzilus? What personality does Chochma Atzilus have? She'inyanahu bittul. Chochma is bittul. That is why Chochma has the ability that Eir Ein Sof can clothe itself in Chochma. Echad ha'emes, the true oneness, who is completely on his own, and there is nobody besides him. The Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, he quotes over here from Tanya Perek Lamed Hey. He speaks over there about Ahava, the love and fear that tzaddikim have. And he says that, we learned about it earlier also, and I don't know if it's in this Maimer, the previous Maimer, we learned, in the previous Maimer, we spoke about this union of this sense of self, the sense of self-feeling, and so on and so forth. He said like this, so the Alter Rebbe explains like this, that the tzaddik, as high a level as he attains, there's still somebody there, there's a yesh. Yesh Misha'ev, there is the one that loves, right? cannot come to a state of bittul as the neshama was before it came down the matter. Remember we learned about Dalit Mesa Be'etisha, the four that passed away, that died as a result of the counsel or the scheming of the snake, of the serpent. Right? What does that mean? That the Nochosh left an impression on every human being. Even on the greatest tzaddik. What? This sense of self-feeling. This feeling of self.
The end of the last mile.
Correct. So what's the word? So how does Ein Sof? Where does Ein Sof be mislabish? Chochma d'Atzilus. Chochma d'Atzilus is an entity, if you can call it that. It is an entity because it's Chochma d'Atzilus. It is something. It has its own personality, its own. What's the word? Its own characteristic, right? Its own character, Chochma. But it's a Metzias of Bittul. It's the entire idea, the entire inyan of Chochma, the Atzilus, Chochma of Atzilus, the first of the 10 divine attributes, is that it is bottled telukus. Therefore, Ein Sof, when Ein Sof comes and is mislabish, clothes itself, it can clothe itself in Chochma Atzilus. Why? Because Ein Sof is Achdus Apshuta. He's on his own. He's one. So if you want pure Ein Sof to clothe itself into something else, the purest, if you will, the purest form of existence in a state of bittul, of nullification, is Chochma Atzilus. Therefore, Ein Sof can clothe itself in Chochma Atzilus. That's the word that Rebbe says over here. Shehislapshusay, Ein Sof clothes itself. He b'mokim kazeh in such a place. She'einay nirgish lemetzias. He clothes himself in such a place that does not feel itself as existing on its own. V'chol inyanay, and what is the entire being, the entire essence, the entire existence of Chochma, of Atzilus is einay ela hayesei kli hamosar v'nosan. It is simply that he is, Chochma Atzilus is a receptacle, a vessel that is completely dedicated, zugetrogen, ubottle, and nullified to God's infinite light, which is clothed within it. That's Chochma Atzilus. וזהו גם שאחד הפירושים במיימר אי וחיי אחד, אי וגרמי אחד. There is a Tikkun, I think it's from Tikkun Zohar, or from the Zohar, Tikkun Zohar, I believe, that says, Ihu v'chayoy echad, he and his vivifications are one. Ihu v'garmoy echad, he and his, what does it say with the Tanya, how does he translate it? Emanations? Garmoy is emanations, or chayoy is emanations? The bottom line is that the Alter Rebbe explains that chayoy, it means basically Hashem and his Eiros are one, Hashem and his Kalim are one. The Ein Sof and the
vivification and emanation.
Is it? Is there an English Tanya here someplace?
Yeah.
Could you look up, you get us Hakadosh chapter 20, please?
No.
You don't have that volume? Anyway, so Iya v'chayoy echad, Iya v'garmoy echad. Right? These are two aspects. Chayoy is the higher level, Garmoy is the lower level. Right? So the Ein Sof and Chayoy are one, the Ein Sof and Garmoy are one. We're talking about Atzilus. So the one interpretation is that this refers to what? Eiris and Kalim. The Ein Sof and the Eiris of Atzilus, the energies, the lights of Atzilus, are one. And another interpretation is that it's, and Garmoy is the Ein Sof and the Kalim are one. So here the Rebbe says one of the definitions of Iya v'chayoy echad, Iya v'garmei echad is a reference to Moichin. That chayoy is a reference to Moichin. Here we're talking about Eidos and Kalim, right? I just explained. Over here, the Rebbe in the Maimon he explains this one of the interpretations of chayoy and of Iya v'chayoy echad is he and chayoy, the intellectual aspects of Atzilus. What is the kuda? What's this? The root of the Meichin of Atzilus, the intellectual aspects of Atzilus, is Chochma. וזהו גם שייכת הפירושים במאמר אי וחיי אחד אי וגרמי אחד. שחיי koyal meichin. This is also why one of the interpretations of this expression in the Tikkun Zohar, he and his Chayoy's vivifications are one, and he and Garmoy and his causations. That's what it says in Tanya. And his causations are one. So Chayoy, Shechayoy, Koyal HaMoichin, one of the interpretations is that Chayoyi is a reference to the intellectual aspects of Atzilus. Or Bifrat, and in particular, Al Sfiras HaChochma. It's a particular reference to what? To Chochma of Atzilus. Shenechsheves K'mei Eir B'likli. Even though all the 10 spheres have Eiris and Kelim, right? Chochma of Atzilus is considered, even though it has an Eir and a Keli, but it's almost like indistinguishable. It's completely Eir. Almost completely Eir. Why? V'hainu, shekol inyani einai ela gilui. The whole idea, the whole essence of Chochma is revelation. What does that mean? What you see, what Chochma says is, I am revelation. I am something through which the whole of Seder Shtashlos can come into being. That's my function. I am Gilui. I'm here to reveal Ein Sof. That's what Chochma says. Umilvad Zeus, and besides this, Einay Margish Mu'umma Chochma of Atzilus doesn't feel anything. All that Chochma that still feels is Hashem is on his own, Hashem is one, and there's nothing beside Hashem. So Chochma Atzilus is an emanation of godliness, but it's an emanation of godliness that says, I am here to reveal godliness. That is what Chochma Atzilus is. Now, how do you get from Chochma Atzilus, the Rebbe is going into the anatomy of Seder Shtalshlus. How now do you get from Chochma Atzilus to Midas, to Bria, to Yetzirah, and so on and so forth? That's what the Rebbe says in the next part. Omnam, however, Kedei shemereishis asfiris reishis Chochma, the Heine begins Chochma Yelah, Yuchal Lis Nimshach Seder Shtalshlus, Hayshtalshlus, the Brasi Vitzat Vafasisiv, in order that we should be able to come from where? From the beginning of all the 10 spheres, from Reishis Chochma, the first attribute which is Chochma, which means Chochma Yelah, the highest level of Chochma. And from there you should be able to come, that it should be drawn down from there, the entire chain order of creation of Bri, Yitzir, and Asiyah. What is Bri, Yitzir, and Asiyah? In the anatomy of Seder Shtalshalus, Shuhin Oisis HaMachshava, Oisis HaDibur V'Kei Chamaisa Kanal. Bria represents the letters of thought. Yitzir represents the letters of speech. And Asiyah is Kei Chamaisa, action, right? As we mentioned before, as the Rebbe says, what did we mention before? That Bria is the world of neshamas, of souls. And neshamas Yisrael olu b'machshava, it says, right? That the souls of Yidden came up where? In Hashem's mind and Hashem's thought. What does that mean? That the souls are created where? In Ilma Bria. Then there is Malachim. Yitzir is the world of Malachim, angels. And it says, B'dvar Hashem Shamayim Nasu, Uveruach Piv Kol Tzva'am. With the breath of Hashem's mouth, the hosts of the heavens, meaning to say the angels were created. Right? And then you have Koyach HaMaisa, you have our world as we know it. So how do you get from Chochmah, this purest form of Metzias, of existence, that is there only to reveal Getlachkeit? How do you get to Bri Yitzir Asiyah Machshav Dibur Maisa? Before you get to Machshava, which is Bria, and then Dibur Maisa, Yitzir Asiyah, Chochma Atzilus has to clothe itself first in the midas, in the emotional attributes of Atzilus. The midas. The Rebbe brings an example from the person. Just as it is in a person down here. Lahavdil havdolas in kates, to separate innumerable separations, meaning to say, not to compare a human being to Hashem and to Getlachkeit, but what is in the person mirrors what goes on up there. So what do we find by the human being? That before a person comes to act, to do something, it has to go through a chain order. It has to go through a process. What is that process? It starts off, it starts with the desire, a will, a desire in the heart. And from the desire in the heart, once a person is drawn to something, he starts thinking about it. He begins to think how he can arrive to what he desires, to the matter that he desires. He thinks about it. And then from thought, it comes down into what? Into letters of speech. For example, sheyavi elov es hadavar hanirtza. Top of Reish Lamed Beis, page Reish Lamed Beis. He instructs, for example, he instructs his friend, that he should bring to him the thing that he desires. So he wants it, he thinks about it, and then he speaks about it. Oy be'inyan shel ma'aseh. Or for example, it comes down not only in speech, it also comes down into action. He takes actions, he does things through which he can arrive to that which he desires and is drawn to from the feeling of his heart. As the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, that before the desire falls into the person's heart, to the thing that he desires, that matter exists in some potential form in his power of wisdom, in his mind, and in his knowledge. The person, this was known by the person. From there, from the Chochmah, this creates a drawing. It draws the heart to that thing. Once it's drawn to the heart, so it's in the mind. You're aware of it. You then you're drawn to it from your heart. Your heart is drawn to it. Then it returns and goes back up from the heart to the mind. That you begin to think about it, to contemplate these things. And it's then that these letters of thought, the thought process, are born in the mind. The letters of thought. Then you come from the letters of thought. You come to the letters of speech. Until it's drawn, or the person is drawn, or these things are drawn into what? Into matters of action. So this is how it is by the person. Similarly, this is to separate innumerable separations between man and between human being and Hashem and godliness. So, but it's also similar to this, is also above. In order for there to be able to be, come into being, these realms of Bri, Yitzir, and Asiya, there needs to be this chain order, the chain order of creation, in the 10 divine attributes themselves. That from the aspect of Chochmah, it has to be drawn down into the aspect of the emotional divine attributes. And then it comes from the Midas, the emotional attributes of Atzilus into Malchus of Atzilus, and from there it follows into Bri, Yitzir, and Asiya. Now, having established that,
Can it skip Sphira?
Usually not.
Because in the man example, it can. You don't have to speak. You can go through.
Usually not. You don't have to speak. Mit Balzen. Let's see how the Rebbe articulates this. Now, the Seder is Chochmah, Midos, Machshava, Dibur, Maisa. Right? So you would think, if that's the case, Machshava, thought, and speech are letters. Right? They're letters. So you would think that the letters, just like Midos come from Seichel, you would think that the letters of Machshava and Dibur come from where? From the Midos, right? That they follow. So that they're rooted in the Midos, says the Rebbe. No. Notwithstanding the fact that what? That Machshava follows from where? From Midos. They are not rooted in Midos. To explain this, says the Rebbe, it's a long point that Rebbe is trying to make because he wants to get to a certain bottom line. And it's going to come full circle. The letters of thought and speech, they are not created from the emotions. They follow the emotions, but they're not created from the emotions. And the Rebbe brings a proof. Brings proof. Even a small child has emotions which draw him to certain things. And not only does a child whose meichin, whose intellect is not yet fully developed, has an emotional drawing to things, even more so. Even more so. the drawing of the midas, the emotions by a child, are much more forceful than by a human being. Than by an adult. As we see, that we see when a small child wants something, there are no limitations. The child cries and shouts and demands. It's impossible to calm him down. You ever tried to reason with the child? The child says, I want. So you explain to him, and he says, yes, but I want. The explanations they're meaningless. Why? Because it's from the heart. He wants. Was comes to be masber sein with explanations? Right? So we see that by a child, you can't calm him down. A child wants something, it's very difficult to calm him down. We're talking even about a child that can't speak. The child will cry and cry and cry and cry. Why? Because he wants something. The child wants something, and he can't even speak. And since we see, it's obvious, that a child has very forceful emotions, and nevertheless, he's not able to speak. This proves that the creation of letters is not from the emotions. So maybe the creation of letters is from Moichin, from the intellect. Says the Rebbe, also, we cannot say that the creation of letters is from the revealed intellect. There is the subconscious, the hidden aspect of intellect, and then there is the revealed part of the intellect. So you can't say that the creation of letters is from the revealed intellect. Why? Because we see, again, using the analogy of the child, even a child who has a little bit of understanding, a little bit of intellect, you see that the child cannot yet speak. Toddlers, you could see that they have seichel, right? The chochmas that a toddler, and everybody gets excited at how bright they are, but they can't speak. So we see also what? That even the letters of thought are also not fully developed. Notwithstanding that what? That he has chokhmah. So it's only when the child grows a little bit, and something additional is added to the child in his development, which is what? Something which is beyond the emotional aspects of the heart, the emotions, and also beyond the intellect, the revealed intellect. It's only then that he's able to speak. So what is it? So where do letters come from? So it's explained in Tanya and other places that the creation of letters comes from the essence of the soul, which is beyond what? The revealed faculties of the soul. Beyond the intellect, beyond the emotions, it comes from the essence of the soul. So in other words, it has its own root in the essence of the soul. It's revealed through the intellect. But it's which intellectual aspects does it come from? Letters are related to intellect, but they're related to the intellectual aspect as it is before it becomes revealed. If you want to call it the source of moichin, if you will. But the Rebbe, if you listen on the tape, the Rebbe says it comes from atzmas and nefesh, or I don't remember if it says other. So it from atzmas and nefesh, or from the moichin before it's revealed. So. It comes from the place which is the source for intellect, for understanding, and for comprehension. It's the root. It's even beyond Kerech HaMaskel. It's the Sheirish HaMokir of Kerech HaMaskel. That's what he's getting to. What are we talking about? Chochmah. Chochmah usually is related to Moichin. It's the first of the three intellects, right? But Chochmah, as we know, as explained in Tanya, what is Chochmah? It's that first spark, right? But also over here, we're talking not Stam Chochmah, we're talking about Pnimius of Chochmah, the very inner aspect of Chochmah. The very root, the first point, from where the wisdom, with the Meichen emanate. V'kasher maschila etz latinik is galdas b'china zu. When this aspect starts to become revealed by the child, by the infant, by the child, azayim is galdas the Indian is, it's then that letters begin to be revealed.
Why isn't it revealed at first?
Because it's developmental. It doesn't happen in one go. This is the Seder. The Seder ist gestellt. Just like in Seder Shtalshalus, it's not that. In Seder Shtalshalus also you have the Seder, Chochmah, Bina, Das, and so on and so forth. Yes, you have the whole Seder Shtalshalus as a full tzir kema, as a full-fledged structure, right? But if you start cutting it down, it starts. I mean, I don't know. You know, they might have all come to being in one go, so to
Where
speak.
does sound come from? Because sound, a child emanates.
Koil, that's even beyond. Like it says in the Mamorim of Rosh Hashanah, where is the Kol
If it's higher, you're saying it's higher. Why did it get revealed first?
Oh, okay, das als jeder Rebster gestellt.
Yeah.
Als jeder Rebster gestellt. That you know that.
All right.
But the Rebbe is just proving that what the point is that it comes from a place, even though it follows Seichel and Midas,
Yeah.
it's rooted someplace beyond. Notwithstanding the fact that what? That these letters are rooted much higher. The letters that he thinks and he speaks, he will think and speak in letters which are rooted beyond the emotions, right? But he will think and speak in those matters to which he's drawn with his emotions in his heart. That's the anatomy. So it's beyond, it has its own root, but it follows the emotions, and the child will think, or the person will think and speak about matters that the person is drawn to. So now the Rebbe is going to explain it even further that you need both things. You need two aspects. You need the very essence, as it is rooted in the soul. You need its source for it to come to being, and at the same time, you need the emotions. For letters to come to being, you need these two processes. We'll stop over here.